Hello.
Marvel Time issue number 102. How are you doing, Benji?
I'm okay. How are you? It's been busy.
Good.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you noticed or not.
Just a little. Makes sense. Yeah, holiday season's a busy time, so
Well, and new CEO is a busy time. I think
that might have some impact on things as well. Let's take a break though to talk about Marvel. Let's get into some of this week's Marvel comics specifically, and we're gonna start off with Planet Hulk World Breaker number 1. This, to me, I don't know if I missed it, or you know how these things go when the announcements of comics happen like 8 months in advance, you kind of lose track of things. But this one kind of fell under the radar for me. Were you anticipating this one in a big way?
No, I'm not a huge Planet Hulk fan.
Mm-hmm.
I like it in small doses, but I guess just not really my thing. But
yeah. I would agree with you there. So I take it you weren't a big fan of this particular first issue then.
I would say I did like it actually.
Okay.
I think because it kind of simplified it just to Scar basically.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like we look at it so much as how he impacts Bruce, but we don't really see how he really get into his soul a lot. Besides, I feel like, and this is obviously, I haven't read tons of Planet Hulk, spin-off, so I don't really know him that well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jen show popping up kind of brings down the sort of whatever, with the sort of like epicness of it, kind of makes it, adds a little bit more heart to it. Amadeus Cho is an interesting character in his own right. So I was actually pleasantly surprised by this one. I wouldn't say it was my favorite comic of the week, obviously, but I will say I did enjoy it more than I had anticipated. When I saw the cover, I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I agree that I'm not a huge Planet Hulk fan. I think the bare bones of that story are good. I think it gets a little too overcomplicated at sometimes. This one, I liked parts of it. I liked elements of the story. I like that, like you said, like Jen Walters showing up, I think adds a nice element to it. But it kind of, I don't know. I was a little confused by the timeline of things and what role Amadeus Cho really has and why he's called Grandpa, and just like a lot of different elements of this story that I am not entirely sure where it's going. And this is of course issue number 1, so this is kind of just setting the groundwork, and the story could develop from here. But I would say not my favorite issue this week, but I wouldn't totally, jump off of this story going forward. If you're a Planet Hulk fan, especially, I think this is a story that would speak to you for sure. Let's get on to our second issue here, which is going to be Strange number 8. Last time we did a Strange issue, it was your pick of the week. Is that the case here again?
No.
Okay.
Because I realized I didn't decide which was my pick of the week, which implies that I didn't hate it. I liked it. It's that, I don't know, there's got to be like a word for it, but that here's what that shocking revelation was really means at the end of the last issue. I didn't love the art. I felt Doctor Strange looked a little cartoony here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really know if I like his look. I think when he was whatever we were calling him before we found out he was Strange, I think that was a really cool look. But now that it's him again, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't really work for me.
Yeah. What did you think?
I like this. I like this story. I like that we got answers on the and now I'm blanking on the name. The blasphemy cartel. I think is a really interesting group, and I'm excited to learn more about them, which you get some new details in this issue here. So I like that. I think they have set up a really good story. This isn't particularly the most action-packed issue, or one that progresses the story, but it kind of sets, you know what it felt like to me? It felt like a heist movie, or like one of the Ocean's movies where they're laying out their plan.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
that's what this issue was. So I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Let's go from Strange over to Captain America: Symbol of Truth, #7. Um, we've been bouncing back and forth between the Sam Wilson Captain America series, and the Steve Rogers Sentinel of Liberty Captain America series. What did you think of this one?
I like this one. It brought back some deep, like I won't say deep cuts, but like I kind of felt like they had moved away from the Secret Wars, Secret Empire storyline.
Yeah,
But kind of bringing that back. I don't want to spoil it per se. And then there's some interesting things happening here with Joaquin that I think are interesting as the Falcon, that I'm looking forward to. I will say I think I'm enjoying the Steve comic more right now.
I think I agree with
going
that.
on with Bucky and stuff, but and knowing that this is all going to sort of come to a head, together, I'm looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. But
yeah, I agree. I did like this issue too. I think I have in my notes just Cap stuff. There's some Captain America, being Captain America stuff in this particular issue, which is always fun to see. Great look, I thought, for a particular character who I won't spoil. I love when you see a character, whether it's a new or returning character, and you see them in a brand new outfit, new look, and it's a really good one. So I really like that. I also there's some interesting stuff happening with Falcon here. Doing a full Peter Parker impression, and I'll leave it at that, not spoil things. But yeah, that was pretty interesting too. I don't know that I love going in that direction, but we'll see what they can do with it. I'm not totally, thrown off of this story based on that. So I'm interested to see more. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of good Sam Wilson stuff here. I do agree, though. I'm enjoying the Steve Rogers series a little bit more. 2 more issues to talk about, and one of them is my easy pencil it in for the rest of the run pick of the week: Strange Academy Finals. I mean, I've raved about this series from the beginning. I absolutely love it. I do think this was a step down from the first issue in the Finals series, because it doesn't focus as much on or at all on Emily, who I think is the most interesting character in this story right now. But Doyle is still great and drives the story, and Gaslamp has been a really cool villain, a very fun character to introduce from this story. So I like what they've done with these other characters, and this issue is good. It drives the story forward. It kind of focuses more on the smaller story, because there's kind of the A and B story happening here, and so I think they did a good job. But I am eager to get back to the big picture and see Emily some more.
Yeah, I feel like it's my pick of the week too. I will say though, I feel like it. The tone was just a little all over the place.
Yes, I agree with that.
And so you're thinking it's this, and then it just wasn't long enough to have that sort of divergence. So I mean, I liked it. It was still my pick of the week. I will say I would just feel like we had the big sort of intro last week, and I kind of expected to kind of have that. Okay, here's what this means. This processing issue, and it just kind of was like you had super duper epic and super mundane, as Strange Academy is going to get, and you're like, right. Where am I? And but I did it. It's still my pick of the week.
Yeah, and I think that sort of duality of this story has been sort of kind of there. In some issues, it's not. It focuses more on the big picture, but it's sort of just the nature of it, because it is this incredibly serious story, but it's being told through the eyes of children, right? So like it's going to have a little bit of a playfulness, or like you said, mundane at times, when kids are going to do chores. So that's going to happen in the story at some point. So yeah, there is that, and I think it works still. I mean, like you said, it's both of our pick of the week, so definitely really recommend this one. And I mean, this series as a whole, I can't wait to see where this goes. One more issue to talk about, and that is Avengers Assemble Alpha, the beginning of the big climax of this three different, kind of two and a half different Avengers stories that we've been reading over the past, I don't even know how long anymore.
Feels like forever. Feels like since the pandemic.
Yeah, well, one of them was Avengers Forever, so that is fitting. But yeah, I feel like the main Avengers story hasn't really had a ton to do with this. There's been a few things with like Starbrand and stuff like that, but now they're just sort of tying in. So, but yeah, connecting with the Avengers Forever with the multiversal Avengers and the Avengers 1 million BC, finally all getting together in one book. How did you like this one?
I liked it. I wouldn't, but I think this is better for people who haven't been following every sort of heartbeat of the Avengers like we have, where it really just sort of was like reintroduces everybody again, and you're kind of ready for this. I think partly because this has been so long in the making, I'm like kind of ready to like, okay, let's get somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like we did. Like the reveals are reveals that were either obvious or revealed previously. And I'm just kind of ready to get the story going. Now it's an alpha issue. I don't even really know what that means. But you know, I'm ready for this to come to a head. And I think there's some great stuff in this. There's some great stuff with the Hulk. But I'm just a little sort of anxious, I guess. So it's maybe not fair, but
yeah,
you know, it's okay. It's like, okay, let's get going. Let's get to it.
Yeah, it's tough to judge this particular issue because I'm with you. It is fair for you to feel anxious the way that you are because we have been leading up to this for so long. It also does feel a little bit messy, like, and I kind of expected things to narrow down before we got to this point because there's always been, you know, these multiple Avengers teams. There's this what is it, multiversal masters of evil,
Right.
which you need a snappier name for that group there. But you've got them, but you also have Mephisto pulling strings and creating an army of Mephistos, and so there's like a lot of different directions and a lot of chaos going on, which is fun. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of action in this book, and it's you know, there's some really fun fights, so it's enjoyable. But I would like to get more of a clear direction as to where this is going. I also thought a particular reveal that I guess isn't even really a spoiler. We've been kind of building up towards Avenger Prime for a long time now. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of a letdown to me, I think. We'll see. Maybe that changes. There's still, you know, the door is still open for that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think it did the job of an issue number one. Again, like you said, it's what are they even calling it? Alpha.
Avengers Assemble Alpha number one.
Right, yeah. So I don't know why they're not just. Is that what the series is going to be? I'm not sure, but
well, I think this is one of those events where it doesn't take place like there's no book, right? It just cuts between the Avengers titles. And so Alpha is supposed to be like the kickoff, and then you know, it's complicated. Probably
so it did the job of setting the stage. It's messy, but it's fun and it could be really interesting. Also, Doom Supreme, or the Doom above all, fantastic. I love that character and I want to see more of him. So I will definitely continue to check out this event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking, as I said, you know, I think my disappointment's part of my frustration is just seeing excitement for it. And so.
Yeah. All right, so that does it for our comics for this week. Let's get into some Marvel news. Not a ton to talk about, but we did get some fun stuff today. We learned that a couple new characters going to be added to the Marvel Day at Sea lineup. The new Black Panther, which are we still not saying the name? I think, are we at the point now? What?
I mean, I don't know. It feels it's not necessary, so that's like. You know, it's not like we need to say it to convey that it's the new Black Panther. So, yeah, I guess if you're waiting for Disney Plus, shame on you. But
by the way, hey everyone in the chat, we see you commenting. If you have any questions or anything, we are live. Feel free to drop a comment, and we can do our best to answer your questions. So, have you done a Marvel Day at Sea cruise before, Benji?
I did one. I want to do it again, but it's at a bad time of the year. So it's I highly recommend it. Now it's on the Dream this year, which is it has historically been on the Magic, so it's going to necessitate some sort of change. But I couldn't recommend it more. Um, one of the best. I mean, obviously, if you're going to like Europe, yeah, that's a different story. But in terms of a port out of Florida cruise, it's one of the best ones you can do because it takes over the ship. The only thing that's disappointing is it's just one day. He wanted it to just be the whole cruise, but
right.
alas, it is what it is.
Well, that kind of brings me to my point. Did you feel like, I mean, it's different this year. Next year, I guess technically 2023, Marvel Day at Sea is going to be bigger than ever before. But did you feel like you were able to see all of the characters or like just everything it has to offer in just the one day?
No, I mean, I don't think you can. I mean, I mean, I would say we got pretty close, but that was 6 a.m. to 11 o'clock. I mean, we were balls to the wall. I mean, and it wasn't. If you're one of those people that's just like, oh, I'm going to go to the spa and I'm just going to relax on deck. Like, you can do that. They're not going to, but you're not going to get, convey everything
right
on Marvel Day at Sea. So I think, and I don't know. Every year it's a little different, so I don't know what the program is going to be this time. But I am curious to see. It's bigger, but like for us, the big thing that year was that's where they debuted the Disney characters in cosplay as Marvel characters, which were at DCA, at least were significant. I don't know if they're still there, but they were there, when Adventures Campus opened. So, it's not as necessary anymore. And, obviously some of these characters you can meet DCA, some you can't. So it kind of depends on what your priorities are. And I don't know what is part of it this year. They're still a little vague. But I mean, what I would say is you can't miss the Dex show. Like that's, if you do one thing, do that. But it's the little touches too. It's like, you're going through the hallways and they make like announcements like they do on a, normal cruise, except it's like, Ant-Man, please pick up your print particles at whatever. And so it's a lot of fun. Like I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and the reason I asked was because the one cruise I did, I think there were a total of like maybe 10 characters, and I didn't come close to seeing all of them. And that was over the course of like a 3-day cruise. This is now with the addition of Black Panther and Okoye, up to 16 characters for Marvel Day at Sea, and I just can't imagine it's even possible to see them all. Now, granted, like you mentioned, the Deck show Heroes Unite, the new Black Panther will be a part of that. So you'll see a bunch of the characters in one place there. You just won't actually get to meet and greet with them. Okoye will be a part of a show in the atrium called Warriors of Wakanda, where guests will get to train with the Dora Milaje. So that sounds pretty cool as well. Let's jump to some MCU news. We had kind of funny to have this news come across that there's a new standee out in theaters now for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So you can see, Kang with practically the whole world in his hands. But there was some interesting news to come out of this because we never got an announcement of casting for Katie O'Brien, who was in, I think, 3 or 4 episodes of The Mandalorian, just as like Imperial comms officer, so not a huge role. But she is listed on the standee. So Katie O'Brien, another name added to the cast for this film.
It feels like, I know it's the next Marvel thing, but it still feels so far away.
It really does. Yeah, and it's crazy because it's just in February, so we're only a couple months away, kind of a couple months away. But we're so used to having a show in between that to fill that gap. So, yeah, nothing for a little bit still here. Elsewhere in the MCU, there was an interesting interview with Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special and all of the other Guardians of the Galaxy director and writer James Gunn. Shared some interesting information. First of all, by the way, we didn't actually get a chance to talk about the holiday special since you watched it. What did you think?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I had all sorts of production questions, which is terrible. But you're like, oh my gosh, how did they find Kevin Bacon's house? Like whose house did they rent to film this? And all these dumb questions that no one should think about when watching a holiday special. But yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. It's sort of perfect for Disney Plus.
Yeah, I agree.
It's yeah, I've been thinking a lot. Now that we're kind of in this reset of the scope of Disney Plus and all these questions, and it's like I would love it if it was we went from basically WandaVision, Loki, Captain America, and Winter Soldier, like or Falcon Winter Soldier, like kind of hit rapid fire, and then we had some other things that kind of fell in the rest of the year. But like, I'm totally okay if we kind of just simplify and do these things,
Yeah.
And I mean, I love. I'm not going to ever say make less Marvel content, but it's okay to, especially coming out of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which was great, but heavy.
Right. Definitely a different vibe.
Yeah, and then just having this silliness, is a lot of fun. Needed more Cosmo, but we're okay.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on our Black Friday show, right? That we were talking about the holiday special, and I realize now, having rewatched it actually on a TV and on Disney Plus, that the dog is just CGI. I didn't. It's not an actual dog the entire time. So, yeah. But yeah, I really love the holiday specials. But it was interesting hearing from James Gunn talking about this a little bit, and he shared in this interview a story. Well, actually, the interview itself shared a story about Kevin Bacon and how he was in the theater seeing the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Heard his name and got really excited. And so when James Gunn called him to be in the holiday special, he was immediately just, yes, I'm on board. Doesn't matter what it is. He was in. So
I like the fact that he just went to see Guardians of the Galaxy just on his own by himself, like in a regular theater, and just was like, Kevin Bacon is us. Like,
yeah, it was really cool to see him sort of like geeking out about Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, important information to take away from this interview: what we call Groot at this stage is Swole Groot. That is his name now, which he was great in the little parts that he has. But he did mention a few interesting things about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as well. He used this as a way to sort of sneak in plot points that he now doesn't have to take up time in Volume 3 to explain. For example, and spoilers for the holiday special, but the Guardians having bought Nowhere as their new base of operations from the Collector.
Yeah, I think it's okay to spoil things when they happen before the credits.
Fair. Okay. Well, it's also apparently okay to spoil the biggest plot point on Disney Plus the day before it comes out too. So, but yeah, so that was one of them. They introduced the new ship, the Bowie, which was a 4-story ship, like practically like in real life. They use a 4-story set to show this ship, which was really cool.
And then the tram comes on the lower level, and then all the earthquake happens.
Is that 4 stories?
It's 2 stories.
Okay.
That's like we're going into one of the only 2-story sound stages in Hollywood. Like, yeah, and you wasted on this, huh?
The only other detail I wanted to talk about from that interview is he mentions telling the end of Rocket's story. So kind of tipping his hand there, I guess, but and saying like he had to go back to the beginning to tell the end of the story. So you at San Diego Comic-Con, I think, saw the clip from Volume 3. Does that kind of go along with?
Yeah, seeing the little baby, for lack of a better word, Rocket, so heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready
either. Like, I'm not even looking forward to it, honestly. I'm just like, do what you got to do, but no.
I'm glad they're giving us a palate cleanser between this and Wakanda Forever with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, because those 2 movies will have ended up destroying me. So we'll see how that goes when Volume 3 comes out in May. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but it's in May.
May 3rd or something like that.
There you go. More casting news for the MCU. Park Seo-joon has been cast in The Marvels. Not familiar with his work, but glad that they are adding to.
Can we talk? I want to talk about not him particularly, but can we talk about how we always do these casting announcements and we find these headshots, and like no one ever looks normal in these things. Not that they are, but it's like like no one ever just has the like cheese look. Like, that's a headshot I want. Like the guy in front of like what you look like if you're in front of the Lincoln Memorial or something. If you're
Like just get all pictures from Disneyland.
right,
That's
yeah. Like the Chris Evans picture was like fine.
yes.
But like these headshots never look like that. They're always like
I have skimmed through some very funny headshots. Well, I guess you could call them headshots in some cases that I could choose. That I will start going with if you prefer. If you want some funnier images in there, lots of dog options. I'll say.
oh.
Anyway, glad to see that they're adding to the cast of the Marvels. That's a movie I'm really looking forward to now too. As we, after I really loved Miss Marvel. I want to see Kamala Khan again. Interested to see what's been going on in the world of Carol Danvers too. So looking forward to that movie for sure.
Yeah, where did we see that? Was that Expo?
Was there a clip from that?
We see basically the like swapping around. It must have been Expo. I don't know.
Well, there was the post-credit scene of Miss Marvel where they showed that first.
Sure, yeah, but there was something put that in context someplace, and it must have been Expo. Because I don't think it's public. I mean,
yeah, no, it's not. It was at Expo. I'm remembering that now. Yeah.
Yeah, that built anticipation for me because it kind of made it seem, it made it seem like it was literally the Marvels as opposed to Captain Marvel featuring.
Right, it's not Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels. Right. It's the Marvels. So that is pretty cool. I'm excited for that. Some new Guardians of the Galaxy merchandise thanks to Roosevelt's. We've got these two Guardians patterns, these two button-up shirts here. Roosevelt's makes some great stuff. And we've got this holiday Groot, Rocket, Drax, Star-Lord in there. Let's see if I can pull it up a little bit bigger here. There we go. So Roosevelt's known for their button-down shirts. I love this Drax. I really like this art style, and I love this Drax like wrapped up in the light strings there. Pretty great. And then there was this one as well, which has a fun pattern. I like that this one is like from far away. You wouldn't necessarily know that this is Guardians of the Galaxy. When you get up close, you can clearly see that is Rocket and Groot.
Yeah, and you'll light up like a chimney at a Fantasyland dark ride.
That would be fun to see now. That's a challenge accepted.
Mac wears a thing.
Let's finish up with a couple of pieces of Marvel Comics news. New Hellcat series coming out of the Iron Man, Christopher Cantwell, right? I have that one. Yeah, okay. Just making sure I'm not mixing up the comics announcements. But Christopher Cantwell's Iron Man series that sort of brought Patsy Walker back into the spotlight as she's kind of fallen aside for a long time. But now we get a new Hellcat series, and she's living in a house haunted by the ghost of her mother, and now she's the suspect in a murder mystery, and this just sounds awesome. I am interested in this new series, and bringing back Sleepwalker too as I guess an antagonist. I guess we'll see how that goes, but some interesting dynamics here. For Hellcat's obviously not, you don't sell a ton of Hellcat comics like you do Spider-Man comics, so you throw an interesting story in there, and that's going to get people excited about it, and it worked for me. So I'm looking forward to it, and this will be coming out in March. No specific date just yet. And then one other comic coming in March as well, Hallows' Eve. So I will tell you right off the bat here, we didn't do Marvel Time last week. I have fallen behind on comics. I missed last week's, I don't remember, was it Amazing Spider-Man number 28 or something like that? So this kind of spins out of that. I am excited to see, having read the description of this comic, first of all, I'm excited to go back and read that Amazing Spider-Man. Second, now this new character, I love spooky, that side of things. So I'm interested to see the vibe. There's obviously Hallows' Eve. There's the Halloween masks and everything on the cover here. I'm really interested to get to know more about this character, how this character got to where she is right now. And where she fits into everything for Spider-Man. So I'm looking forward to this one again coming out in March.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw it. I was like, wait, Halloween just happened.
Yeah, it is weird.
It's like releasing Hocus Pocus in the summer.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see this was coming in March, but then again, they wouldn't be, announcing an October comic in November. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for this. I think the character is really interesting. The stuff already going on with Ben Reilly is interesting, and this is only going to further that. So yeah, looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit behind Spider-Man 2. I think I got one main issue and then the Iron or Golden Goblin.
Yeah, the Golden Goblin from that was last week or the week before, something like that.
Yeah, so I'm a little out of the loop, so I don't want to speak ignorantly, but
yeah, well, I'm definitely interested to go back and check that out and see how we get to this. Well, there's going to be some gaps to bridge between now and then anyway, but I want to know how we are getting to Hallows Eve for sure. All right, that's it for our Marvel news for this week. What else do we have going on, Benji?
We got a lot. I'm trying to think what we can talk about.
Okay.
I will say follow us this week, especially Friday. I don't think we have anything scheduled. But I will say, follow us on Laughing Place TV, laughingplace.com/TV, to get the latest, as we will be breaking in whenever there's breaking news. For example, today with the news of Magic Happens returning to Disneyland Resort, which I presume you've never seen.
I have not in person anyway.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. And I think that's about it that we can talk about.
I may need to hear about some of the things that we can't talk about, but I do want to take the time to point out that Zacks of Life came back this week. New episode came out on Monday. You can go check that out right now. The poll will be up, so you can vote who you think won the draft later today, hopefully. By the way, we drafted a concert lineup of MCU actors. So any MCU actors who perform music, you put them on a stage, that's your concert. I feel pretty good about my team.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be good at that because I don't know that I know who does music in the MCU.
There's some pretty big names. A little bit of thought you would have it. So I won't put you on the spot right now, though. But Harry Styles.
Fair enough. That would never. I could think about that for another 2 hours and it wouldn't come to me. So
yeah, that poll will be up, like I said, on Twitter at Zacks of Life Pod, and we'll have another episode out on this upcoming Monday to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special some more. So
then you get to take a break, huh?
Yeah, then we'll be on a break because, like we said, there's no Marvel content between now and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We might have to fill in a gap somewhere to just catch up on news, and we'll have assembled and things like that. So something in there.
Comics. There is Marvel content. It's just called comic. I think they spun. So when Doobie acquired Marvel, and we're talking about like all the different things Marvel does, and he's like,
hang on. When Doobie acquired Marvel.
Oh, I'm sorry. When Disney acquired Marvel. Whoops. Spoiler alert. So I was like, no, I was trying to explain how the idea is you take something and you put it into Disney and then it spins out. So he goes like, oh, so like you can take the Marvel brand, you'll have movies and television and like theme parks, and he's like, and books, and I go, yes, they might make books with Marvel characters in them, and pictures,
maybe several hundreds of thousands of them, possibly.
And every 6 months there'll be a new number one.
All in the Game asks, when's the Secret Invasion show? We just know spring still, right? That's the last update we got on that.
That's the last official update we got on that. I think people have been reading the tea leaves and saying, late February, but
I would just guess sometime after Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but before Guardians of the Galaxy in May would be my that's pretty much what my guess would be.
Yeah, I think it's 6 episodes. So if I think it's a fair bet it'll be on in March.
Yeah,
it might start late February, it might start late March, but I have a feeling it will be in sometime in March.
Yeah, so no official updates on that just yet, though, but we will definitely report on that as soon as we get any information.
Oh, yeah, I mean that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
So let's talk. Can we? So I want to talk to you a little bit since we finished Phase 4.
Yeah, which it feels so weird now, right? Like it used to be like the phase. I mean, I know unofficially, well, I guess officially, Ant-Man was the end of Phase 2, but it always felt like it ended with a big climactic movie, and it was just like Wakanda Forever was like, yeah, it was great. Didn't feel like the end of a phase though.
So I'm going to give you. I want to go through Phase. I'm going to remind you what was in Phase 4, and I want you to tell me your highlight and low light.
Ooh, okay.
So just a refresher, on the movie side, you had Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. On TV, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk Attorney at Law, and I'll throw in Werewolf by Night and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Yeah. Wow. Just you listing all of that. I kind of felt like Phase 4 flew by, but there was a lot of content in there. Man, highlight. God, this is tough. So I talked about this with Doobie on LPTV at one point. Just even looking at the movies from this past year, I think Wakanda Forever might be the best movie, but the one that I enjoyed most was probably Multiverse of Madness, and that's one that I'm more likely to watch more often because Wakanda Forever is so heavy. And like leaving, I left the theater 2 different times, just emotionally drained. Like I had just gone through war myself. Like it was difficult. It's a great movie. It's incredibly well acted, well written, perfectly handled, but just a lot. It takes a lot out of you to watch that movie. So Multiverse of Madness, though, was incredibly fun. Had a lot of shocking, exciting moments. So that would probably be my highlight. A low light is also difficult to choose, but I mean, I guess I'd have to say Eternals. At the time seeing it, I was really excited about it because I did think it was really well done, and I thought it had huge ramifications. And now it seems like because of the way the movie was received, those ramifications might not be so big anymore. So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of time for the MCU to play things out in that direction, but there's a lot of other directions they're going first. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
give me a series highlight, low light.
Ooh, I don't. That's really tough. Loki has got to be the highlight, but I also want to give some credit to Hawkeye, which I think was really surprising. I did not expect to love Hawkeye, and I really, really did. A low light is tough. I think there were 2 shows that I still really enjoyed, but kind of fell off for me at the end, and those were Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel, I came out of the first. I think for that one we got 2 episodes as our the screeners to review, and I came out of that saying this was my favorite Disney Plus Marvel series, and then it kind of just tapered off down at the end. So Moon Knight also hit us with in episode 4 that awesome moment, and then I think the finale kind of let me down. So, but I really liked those series as a whole, but those would be my low light choices.
Okay, so my highlight, I think, is Spider-Man No Way Home. Just the fun of it. Like it was kind of was the. I mean, it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense if you really think about it. So don't. A low light is going to be Eternals. It just kind of just felt like a dirge. I mean, I don't want it to. I think it set up some interesting concepts, but I don't think it really paid off in the film itself. And then on TV, WandaVision, I think it was just partly because was the first, that we've been waiting for. And the fun of the Agatha thing and Mephisto, just like waiting every week for what was going to happen was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
my low light. I think I got to go with Moon Knight, which I wouldn't have said going into it. As I said, like, I like the pivot on it, but it just kind of felt like it didn't end anywhere.
Yeah, the finale just kind of fell flat, I think.
Yeah. So, on the game, Goose says Love and Thunder. It was the low light for them. From an expectation standpoint, Black Panther for Wakanda Forever was a highlight for everything they had to go through. I mean, absolutely. Really didn't like Multiverse of Madness's writing for Michael Waldron, which is problematic because I think he's sort of the go-to guy right now. Yeah. But everyone's entitled to make a movie that doesn't connect with you. So, and then I want your take on. So we'll split up movies and TV. I want your most anticipated and least anticipated for Phase 5, which is Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Captain America: New World Order, Thunderbolts, and Blade.
Most anticipated, and it's not just because it's the next one, but Quantumania. I mean, the what this movie could mean to the MCU and really getting to see Kang for the first time. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Least anticipated, I mean, like I said, Guardians is going to destroy me. That's going to be a tough one to watch. But also, I'm still really excited about that movie. So I guess I would say Blade is a character I haven't really connected with in the comics as much. So that would probably be low on my list.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you. And I mean, just Kang and all that stuff. And I think it's I'm curious. I'm really curious about how that movie plays out. Blade too, just for me, not really my favorite character. Nothing wrong. It's just I'm not really into that darkness that he kind of lives in.
Now, I do want to say though, Mahershala Ali is an incredible actor.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Role, so I'm looking forward to that.
No, and I mean that's like I'm looking forward to all of them.
Of course. Yeah.
But I think it's not even so much that Blade. It's just Blade doesn't have for every other one, I can tell you why I'm excited for that one. Sure. And I mean, Blade, I'm excited for, because of Mahershala Ali, but I don't have any storyline moments that I'm super excited for. I mean, it's also super early on in development, and that could change. On the TV side, we got What If, Secret Invasion, Echo, Loki, Ironheart, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, and Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, this is Secret Invasion because that is one of my favorite comic story arcs. But I also am really excited for Daredevil. And I mean, I'm looking forward to all of those. Man, picking a least anticipated is real. I guess I'd say What If, just because it's not a part of the overall story for the most part. I mean, then again, it has kind of spilled out here and there, so who knows? Maybe it will again. But yeah, those would have to be my answers. But that's really tough because that's a great lineup. And a year ago I might have said Echo, but then Hawkeye surprised me so much, and that corner of this universe became suddenly so exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think for me, Secret Invasion still. I think probably my least is Ironheart.
I might have said that prior to Wakanda Forever, but now getting to meet this version of Riri Williams, I loved the character and can't wait to see her.
I do. I guess I just felt like I'm trying to put it into words. It's just like I feel like in many ways she's so close to Shuri. She's different, but she's so close that in terms of underage, I mean not 12, but young inventor who does extraordinary things that I kind of don't want to see her without Shuri. I feel like their chemistry was so good together that I feel like, okay, maybe, now I don't know exactly. I saw what they had at Expo, but that's, it's a sizzle reel. What the environment, when she comes back, to states, how that new environment impacts her, and tells that story. Whereas opposed to all obviously Daredevil, you're excited for because you know that dynamic. Agatha, Covenant Chaos, you're excited for. Loki, Echo. These are other characters we had more time with, so it's like I'm excited to revisit them. Whereas Ironheart, I haven't had much time. It's not her fault, obviously. And I expect to love it, but I just, I don't know what the hook is yet. Similar to the same way with Blade. It's like, what's the hook to get me into it? There will be one by the time it airs. I just don't know.
Sure. Yeah, but definitely looking forward to the entire lineup, both sides of the TV and movies. So, and again, hearing the entire lineup sprawled out like that, we got a lot to talk about over the next, what is it, 2 years? Oh, we didn't even. I mean, Thunderbolts is another one that I'm really looking forward to. I kind of wish we got some more tease of that with Val's role in Wakanda Forever, but.
And that made me love her so much. Like, I mean, when you're named Contessa, you have this sort of, there's a sort of like aristocracy that like, but then we see her like, being normal. It makes it more fun, right? Like
normal, I guess.
Right. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like the fact that she had a human husband, because before you can imagine she was like be married to like a snake. I don't mean like a bad person, like a literal snake. Like you could, and I'm excited to see how it plays out here. Only Game says Agatha feels like the most unnecessary show for me. Yes, I guess I'm excited to see sort of an Agatha that's not just the villain. Like I feel like she revealed herself and then she was the bad guy, right? Like I'm looking forward to seeing almost more of that nuance she got in the Fantastic Four. I don't know if it's going to be there, but like she's not necessarily evil,
right?
It's a sort of nebulous term, but and Jack Schaefer, obviously I loved work on WandaVision.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just I'm excited for him, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's also necessary to me. I hate the thing is and I'm guilty of this more than nearly anyone else. Like Marvel shows don't have to fit into they can just be good shows that happen to take place in the Marvel universe. Like it doesn't need to be necessary for the phase or lay groundwork. Like sometimes it can just be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's fun when it does that stuff, but it doesn't like Wakanda Forever really didn't. I mean, at least as far as we know, but at the same time, just a great movie. So you're not thinking of what's the impact here to the future.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm definitely guilty of that. Sometimes I find myself looking forward to the post-credit scene more than the movie itself. So
yeah, that's why I started going twice because it's like the first time it's like I just think of it mechanically.
Yeah.
Like why and especially doing what we do where you're like, okay, well I know that this actor was filming this, so he couldn't be here, so this is why he's here to do it. Like, and then the second time I can kind of enjoy it just as a movie, and usually I will enjoy the second viewing a lot more than the first viewing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also say I do think I agree with All in the Game. On the surface, Agatha does feel like the quote unquote unnecessary show, but I think there's directions they can go with this that it is going to plug into the bigger picture. I think there's ways for her to connect back to with Wanda, with Wanda's quote unquote kids. And then, just opening that door back to the strange, the magical universe of the MCU is possible as well.
Only Game felt Black Panther Wakanda Forever was bogged down for laying groundwork for Thunderbolts. It definitely did, but I never felt like it was, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, just sort of unnecessary. Like it didn't bog it down to me. It was there, but it didn't. I don't know. Yeah. I guess it just never felt like, oh no, here it is. Here's coming. Like, I mean, I'm gonna struggle with an example off the top of my head, but that's definitely happened. Like, why is it there? Oh, to lay the groundwork for this. It happened, I think, more in like phase 1 than anything else. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would agree. Like I said, I was kind of hoping for like a post-credit scene where just Julia Louis-Dreyfus saying, "I'm putting a team together" to Bucky or something like that. But kind of made sense that we didn't get a post-credit scene in that movie. Though.
Well, it feels, I don't know. I feel like anything after the mid-credit scene would just feel tacky. That's
what I meant. Yeah, like it wouldn't have really fit. So they made the right call.
And that's why I love how Endgame, it doesn't end. It's just, this is the volume. Here it is. There's no, don't look forward to the future. It'll be there, but just here's where it's at.
Right.
But okay, well, we got that going. So I said, keep an eye out on Laughing Place, laughingplace.com/TV, laughingplace.com/TV. Just have it on the background whenever there's breaking Disney news, or we got one of our shows going on, or someone's in the park. We'll be there live. And I wish I could tell you what to look forward to, but I can't. So just follow us. Trust me.
There's a lot to look forward to. I think just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, you see what's going on at Disneyland. I mean, we could do a whole show just going through what's happening at Disneyland in the first 2 months of next year. But in any case, I'll see you later.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.